Vegan.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's
Vegan.
Vegan Week. So, and more importantly than Vegan Week, look.
With the Sega system opening.
Yeah, it was always the Sega system. But fuck that. It's Kristiemas.
It is Kristiemas, the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most Kristie time of the year.
Even for vegans.
Yeah, even for vegans, they can enjoy a good Kristiemas, although not our dinner because we had Szechuan chicken wings. So
delicious.
Not very vegan whatsoever. And then our vegan dessert was profiteroles. So,
and I'm glad you got the profiteroles and not the amateur fiteroles.
Look, I want good ones.
Exactly.
Right, I want
How
good
much
ones.
do they get paid for their...
Not enough for what we did to them.
We sound like we're like cakeophiliacs.
Is that a real thing? It is now. So it's been Kristiemas today. Obviously, it's the most wonderful time of the year. You know, we all know that Kristiemas lasts, for basically like a week. But today is the official day.
Yes.
The day in which the Blessed Kristie did grace us with her presence. We celebrated I redecorated our house like the office.
Not like, like Michael Scott's office and stuff and like bobbleheads on.
Like the Dwight and Jim Kelly Kapoor party for those who watch The Office.
I'm still waiting to be offered my choice of either a nap. What was it?
I actually thought about offering you a nap. But we have a podcast to do.
I did put it to my colleagues at work today.
Did they offer you the nap?
Yeah. I'm like,
or TV? It was nap or TV?
I'm like, where's my offer? And I'm like, I'm down for a nap. Bought my own pillow.
Tell you what, after this, nap.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Sweet. So once we finish, you can have a nap, and the nap can lead into bed. There you go. How about
Excellent.
that?
Perfect.
So let's get into Vegan Week, shall we? Because I've been fearing this. I've really been fearing this. I mean,
vegans are a bit militant, but
I don't do well with these sorts of weeks. We all remember Free From Week. In my opinion, it was free from interest. But be that as it may, I did, and again, for all my bagging it out, people are not going to understand that I actually did come in with an open mind. I really genuinely tried to come in with an open mind, and very early on they fucked that up.
Look, quite honestly, I don't know enough about baking free from. I've got a lot of friends into it, and I've been like, I've looked at what Elena Duggan's been doing, and I'm now seeing the inclusivity of everything. And not all vegans are vegan by choice. I mean, there's a friend of ours who was a tree lopper. He got bitten by a tick, and that caused him to basically have superpowers in the form of having massive allergic reactions to meat.
That's a problem.
I really respect that. Whether it's a choice or forced upon you by some freak accident.
I'm more okay, to be honest with you, I'm more okay with Free From Week than I was with this.
Why is that?
I think Leah and Brandon were talking about it on Twitter with Josh as well. And they were all talking about the idea that at least with Free From Week, it was a targeted ingredient here and there. So like you knew there was that one you couldn't use or that one. Now look, we know that the sugar one was a bit of a furphy because they were using a lot of very natural sugars when they made a ridiculously, in Chris's case, sized trifle. But you at least got like one ingredient here and one ingredient there, and they demonstrated the ability to leave that out. The Vegan Week, I don't know. I really have a big problem with the showstopper. We'll come to that when we get there.
I actually thought it was a great week because I've been asking for, things that are out there and that are different. And what I found better about this week than I did Free From Week is that they actually stuck to it. It wasn't a cop-out. Nothing was a cop-out. And there was a moment where Rahul's like, I'm just going to pour some yogurt on. I'm like, what? And then I realised that they're referring to a lot of things that are obviously vegan products. But they just don't have enough time to go through and go,
I know, but
this is vegan yogurt made from the sadness of chickpeas.
Yeah, I know. But my kind of issue with that, again, I know they can't go, this is vegan
actually,
this,
no,
this is vegan that. But they could have explained, for example, what the active ingredient is. So, because there will be people who may be watching this, looking at it, going, I want to learn more about it. What is the active ingredient in vegan yogurt?
But the thing is, Bake Off is never about learning techniques. Bake Off is watching people show off their skills and compete. So I think maybe it's a good stepping stone for people to go out and actually look into stuff. So you could look at Elena Duggan's website. There's lots of other people doing like this experimental baking.
As you can hear, we really don't agree on this week, and I'll get ranty later. So it's all good.
Look, I really my knee-jerk emotional reaction is, for fuck's sake, just give me some eggs, butter and milk.
We'll come to that.
Okay, but I'm embracing the fact that not all people, and what is food essentially? I mean, you know, like in the future, there's going to be replicators. I've been watching Star Trek, you know, which is essentially just
there will be cheesy dialogue and replicators.
And it'll just be like, you know, food that is just formed out of like your excrement and rubbish because it's just breaking down atoms and putting them together. So really, what is the difference between that and beating the shit out of fucking chickpea juice?
Look, I think if they'd done it, I think my bigger problem with it is I don't think they did it as well as they could have. That's kind of more my issue with it. I naturally have an inbuilt reaction to the vegan thing anyway.
So you're going to sort through that. You're going to process those emotions.
But I also think, and what I said, we'll come to it as we get to the challenges. I also just had a bit of a problem with a couple of the challenges in particular, and there are a few of them that went, no, just like seriously, no. The last one in particular I really struggle with. But let's get into it. So,
yes.
The credits joke was a good one.
I loved it.
The first bit of the credit joke, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Noel's singing a song about being a happy cow.
And you're like,
great.
that's probably Sandy and Noel, you know, being a happy cow.
Cut back, Paul and Prue, and then the joke about beans, but he can't have beans with his sausages because it's vegan week.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
That was very cool.
I like the way they've done those. Those jokes have been getting better. Those jokes have been getting better. I also like the way that Prue said vegan style. She made it sound like it was a gang sign.
Or it's a new Psy song. Whoppa vegan style. Whoop.
Hey, disappointment. Whoppa vegan style. Look, I'm going to be the snarky, cynical one tonight.
Oh, no, I'll still do it too
Brace
because
for
it's fun.
It was like when they said, you know, coconut oil resembles butter in many ways. No, it really doesn't. I like coconut oil. But I like coconut oil when you use it for, like, the right purposes. To use it to replace butter in many ways is important. No.
Like, imagine, like, a Vegemite sandwich with coconut oil as the base.
Yeah. It's not working. Very much the same sort of thing.
A butter chicken with coconut oil. Turns a Thai. It becomes a Thai style curry.
Yeah, if you do butter chicken with coconut oil, it's suddenly a Thai dish. Or the idea of, you know, that sort of whipped butter for hotcakes. Now replace that with whipped coconut oil.
That would be actually tasty.
No, I don't think it would. No, because the coconut would be too strong and it would just ruin everything.
We'll see.
It'd be like you're eating a sort of flat Bounty bar.
Or making jaffles.
Oh no, coconut oil
Savoury
on both
jaffles.
Savoury jaffles, coconut oil on both sides. What do you got? A braised steak and onion and coconut oil jaffle. Ooh, yuck. Anyway, and then Bryony was trying to convince me, I believe, it wasn't everybody else, it was just me, because Bryony goes, you know, vegan baking can be as flavoursome. Lies. Damned lies. Look, I'm not going to say that you can't have things that are vegan that are delicious. I'm not that stupid, right? You can. But to say it's as flavoursome as something that you can pour a fucking mountain of butter into? No, it's really not. Hi, I've replaced it with a little bit of sadness.
I'm still confused as to whether, because I saw John, like, patting his sweaty head tonight.
John.
I'm like, what if that sweat gets into the bake? I mean, he's under pressure. You know, he's in captivity.
Is he technically eliminated
he's
for
now
breaching?
Being exploited.
Literally, it's a sweatshop for the good of the bake.
Exactly.
I think I felt for John. John clearly gave no fucks. Like, he walked in on Vegan Week and John just clearly went, you know what, I'm fucking out of here. I don't care. I think John would have been upset had he not gone home.
Do you think out the back they just had like a full fucking charcuterie going on?
I love the idea.
That was Paul's fucking writer for this week.
So let's get into this now. I mentioned it later on in my notes, but let's fucking get into this now. It was very clear from moment one. Paul Hollywood fucking hated this week. Paul, you were my Patronus in there. Because Paul Hollywood really didn't give a shit. And it was funny when you got to the end and they got to the judging. Before they did any of the judging, Paul was really trying hard to say something nice about vegan food. And they're like, you didn't really like this week, did you? And he goes, no, but they have shown that you can make some delicious food vegan. And you could just see Noel and Sandy pissing themselves laughing, going, you barely believe a word you're saying. You don't care. Like, he's a very simple man. He's a baker who likes a lot of butter and shit.
Yeah, and like something I found quite confronting tonight is that like what was it called, dietary yeast or whatever it is, is okay to use. Single cell organism. It's obviously sentient. Like
that was the comment where like she tried to suggest that the yeast was replacing the cheese, and Paul's like, I've eaten yeast. It doesn't taste anything like cheese.
Where does life begin?
Where do you get
When do you say no to killing a cow, but some poor yeast that's ready to like multiply and grow?
Where's the Roe v. Wade of the yeast world?
Exactly.
This is what we need. We need a Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
exactly. Suddenly that form of yeast is okay. What? Because it wasn't sentient? It didn't say, hello, I'm a cow, be my friend? I mean, it's...
But they've actually proven that trees talk to each other and want each other.
Level 5 vegan. Don't eat anything that casts a shadow.
Yeah. But maybe we should stop with the ranting and get onto the bake-offing.
But you realise that most of the bake-offing is still ranting. I do also have to ask the question.
Yes.
And this is something and it's not just about this week. I make the same argument anytime anyone has almond milk. Vegan cheese. It's not cheese.
No. It's Mushnuts. And
go on, say that again.
It's Mushnuts. And if you watch The Good Place, all Chidi can talk about is the reason why he's gone to the bad place is because of almond milk. He's like, I knew almond milk was like bad for the earth, but I still used it anyway.
I don't look. My opinion is have your own names for the food and your own terms, and don't shorthand them like vegan cheese or almond milk. It's not, right? Call it an almond paste, almond meal maybe, that could sort of work. Vegan cheese, don't call it vegan cheese. Call it, you mention it's the crushed up nuts.
Mushnuts.
Mushnuts. Who is not marketing mushnuts? You should be. Get the trademark right now. Hashtag mushnuts. Get it trending. I want to see the world going, what the fuck is trending mushnuts? Like, seriously.
And nut juice in the milk, because that's an old joke.
Now, they had to make tarts. We didn't even mention the fact they had to make tarts in the first challenge.
Yeah.
Now, Manon decided that she was making a tart for the summer and a tart for the winter, which is always handy, I find, if you're going to have tarts.
May as well have one for the summer, one for the winter.
Yeah, have again, and then you have a springtime and a fall one, and then there'll be your tart for all seasons. That is it's a weird night when I'm willingly making Grease 2 references.
Because it's Kristiemas.
It's Kristiemas, and therefore we have to celebrate. You believe it's the superior of the Greases. Disagree. Anyway, what was worrying for me about Manon's tart, however, was that it was her flatmate's favourite recipe. Now, as you pointed out again...
The single white female.
Because remember when they did the cut back to Manon's apartment, and, her flatmate is dressed exactly like Manon.
This is why she can never find a marriageable husband or man.
The single white
female is just disposing them. I haven't heard back from Jake for weeks. I don't know what could have happened to Jake.
Jake's a horrible person when he struggled.
Sharpening her knife, putting it back in her serial killer kit.
Look, I knew Jake was all wrong for you. I mean, look, while he was struggling in the boot of the... I mean, what? What? He said a lot of really nasty things to me while I was burying him in that... No. What I did appreciate about this week, and we said it on the drinking game, is that booze quite often meets vegan requirements, and Bryony kept the booze flowing.
Thank goodness.
Thank you, Bryony, for at least keeping one staple element of this. And then just as I started easing into it, I started feeling a lot better about myself.
Yeah.
Kim Joy broke out the tofu.
No, you were going to put that on the drinking game.
I deliberately...
There were so many things you were going to put on the drinking game.
Yeah, and look, I thought about it should be tofu was an obvious one, I thought. And then I went, possibly a bit too obvious. Someone's going to use tofu at some point. There's probably better options. And by the way, John tonight was hitting a grand slam of everything I've taken off the card. He couldn't have missed one if he tried. There was one section of this where John hit 7 things I've taken off the card in a row. It was amazing.
So thankfully, you're not all...
However, he did also hit 3 in the same breath that were on the card. He hit like 10 points.
That's right.
He bragged about the amount of meat he eats.
Yes.
There were a couple of others. I think he talked about his flavours being weird too. There were a couple of others there. Now, Manon also then gave us we haven't had that many innuendos. And Manon's comment at one point, which I think a lot of people on Twitter missed because I didn't see a lot of comments on it, if you want to avoid a soggy bottom like I had last week.
Use a condom.
Ba-dum-ching. And then Manon announced that she was making a vegan bechamel, which, again...
I'm just going to let you go for it. Just keep going, Chris.
Oh, look. Again, give it another name. It's not a bechamel if it's vegan. It can't be. It physically can't be. It's like, wait till we get to the fucking pavlova.
No, one bake at a time.
I know.
One rant at a time.
Now, John's strategy was a bit like what my strategy possibly would have been, which was he just made anything he could think of that was vaguely vegan and sort of threw it into the tart. And, like, Prue called him out on it. And she's like...
Falafels, they're vegan.
She's like, there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason here. And John very nearly just said, it's all fucking vegan. Leave me alone. I'm from Wales, do you know? I'm going to miss the fact that we don't get to hear any more John making references to being from Wales.
We'll just have to make it up for him, you know.
Maybe he can just duck in the back of the tent. He's just like Peter O'Johnson. I'm from Wales. The grand final, he turns up in a suit of the Welsh flag, draped in a Welsh flag,
blaring Tom Jones.
Yeah, blaring Tom Jones and the Catatonia International Velvet.
Yes.
Now, I also asked you the question, John, because you pointed this out to me because I looked at the whisk. Did John whisk Kim Joy's hair?
Quite possibly.
That purple matched perfectly.
You're like, what is that purple? I'm like, oh, it's the sweet potato. And then it cut to Kim Joy and I'm going, oh, Kim Joy's hair.
So the tarts they actually made...
Alternatively, Kim Joy put mashed potato in her hair. She's like, that's a pretty colour.
I like this. Let's just highlight.
Yeah.
So the tarts they made, Bryony made French onion tartlets and celeriac and apple tartlets. They were the two that she went with. And my God, she put more onion on there than a bunning sausage.
Yeah, but she cooked the tartlets in Prosecco.
She did, again, keeping the booze alive, which was really important in this episode. But yeah, there was said more onion than a bunning sausage. It was so thick.
I'm wondering if the WHS inspectors were in there making sure that cooked onion didn't get on the floor.
Yeah, the onion had to go on the bottom. And then anything else on top. John went with garlic mushroom tartlets, which, look, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And his falafel and hummus tartlets, which literally just, again, made you think that he went down and thought, what have I had that's kebab? No, I get a lamb. But they've got falafel.
I'm surprised the tartlet didn't have, like, falafel, hummus, some tabbouleh, some vegan cheese on top.
Kebab.
And was served wrapped like that.
In a Welsh flag.
In a chili sauce.
In a Welsh flag. Kim Joy.
And was served, you know, with a what do they have? Like, not a midi, not a schooner. They have...
Oh, the pint.
A pint of stout.
Wales forever. Kim Joy made broccoli and tomato quiches and mascarpone squirrel tart. Now, it didn't actually have squirrel in it.
Damn it.
It wasn't, because again, vegan.
Squirrel. Do you remember that cartoon?
I do. Secret squirrel.
Yes.
Manon made, again, her summer and winter tartlets. Rahul, he's made coriander for one of them, and the other one was the curry, which was the chickpea curry.
Now, one thing you forgot to mention with Kim Joy's is she put in this Indian salt in there that has a sulphuric smell to give it that eggy taste.
Yes, I've got that in the feedback. They went, it's quite eggy. Because she had to actually make it taste like eggs. And Ruby went with the sage and buttermilk, a sage and buttermilk tartlet. A butternut tartlet, not buttermilk, that'd be stupid. And the cheesy greens tartlet, which just seemed like green is vegan. Let's dice this up. She used more leek than... I thought John was going to be the one
Technically, it was
leeks.
mushnut greens.
It was.
Mushy nut greens.
I really thought that mushnut. We're not going to call it mushy nut. We're calling it mushnut. From here on in, it's mushnut. Mushnut greens sounds like a different version of Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Soylent Green is people. Mushnut Green is vegan. Episode title: Mushnut Green is vegan. So we also got the mention of yogurt. We mentioned that before.
I'm imagining, this sci-fi dystopia when the vegans, going up for their Soylent Green, and they're like, vegan Soylent Green, and then they find out later that vegan Soylent Green was vegans, and they're like,
No.
I can't eat it because they went willingly. They weren't exploited. There we go. Anyway.
All right. So Manon said the pastry was well baked. It cut well. The flavour was good. The ratatouille one that she made tasted like the south of France. So cigarette butts, underage drinking, cheese, interestingly enough, which,
People painting on plein air.
And lots of people riding bicycles up a mountain. That's no doubt. And a very short working week and striking to make it even shorter. Ruby, consistent. It's not really what you want as your feedback.
Look, it's where she started, and that's a good place
where she wishes she finished, in all honesty. Paul said that you could taste the broccoli.
Taste the broccoli. It's like the disappointing vegan Skittles.
And that was it. Controversial statement.
Yeah.
I would buy broccoli Skittles.
I know you would.
Because I am that person. Although bagging out of vegan stuff, I fucking love broccoli.
You do.
It's my favourite. I love broccoli. Easily my favourite vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
They were underwhelmed by Ruby's fillings. They said the pastry was crisp, though, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
We found out something that we didn't know. Paul Hollywood, of all of the things that wind him up and annoy the hell out of him...
Mushnuts.
Wasn't mushnuts. It was green on top of tomatoes. Paul, there are so many things in the world to get upset about. Green leaves
Climate
on
change,
the top of tomatoes.
Brexit.
Green leaves on the top of tomatoes.
Look, it's just a symptom of the futility
vegan food in general
that they're currently living in. He's already living in this UK that's dystopian, going with Brexit and stuff, and it's like something he can control, that he can rage against and control. He's just randomly running into cafes and just resorting salads.
Rage against the vegetation.
We are raging in the name of... Sorry.
Now you won't eat your salad. Now you won't eat your salad. Now you won't eat your... Fuck you, you're gonna eat the salad. So it's like, I think that idea of killing in the name of salad
is really the vegan anthem.
It kind of should be now. I've decided it definitely should be.
Well, after those vegans went and protested at that person's farm.
Well, the other one was, did you see anything about Steve-O from... Steve-O, formerly from Jackass fame, who's vegan.
Yeah.
And he put a post up today because vegans have been attacking him because he won't make his animals vegan. And he's like, you're all fucking idiots. Like, I'm a vegan and I don't believe in forcing animals to be vegan, and fuck off. But the guy with the farm you were mentioning the other day, he's cool. I like him.
Yes, the one to do that with a gun.
He went out with a gun and shot him over the top.
Yeah.
So, Ruby's tart... Because that's where we were before I started singing about Paul killing in the name of salads.
Well, back to Paul de-leafing Ruby's tart.
Yes. Apparently the second tart just had heat and not much else because she put some chilli in there.
Ooh.
But all she did was put chilli in there. Oh, I can...
It needed some T-buzz and left eye, really, to make it, like, real well-rounded.
I can understand, in all honesty, I can understand the idea of putting...
I don't want no tarts.
I can understand the idea of putting more chilli in the tart. Again, trying to flavour it.
Yes.
You're looking desperately for flavours. Chili's a flavour. It's vegan. I can do that.
Hot is a flavour.
Hot is flavour. Now, Rahul, they
There's flavour on your tongue. It was pain.
So, Rahul, they said the pastry is good, but there was way too much filling. Then Prue had a moment.
Yeah.
The chickpea curry held really well, and then she had a taste of it. Nearly orgasmed. Looked at Rahul and went, the flavour is poetry.
Did you hear that? No? Oh, did you hear that, Rahul? It's poetry.
Poetry.
And now we know what Prue's going to be writing later on tonight.
Her next novel is going to be The Steamy Chickpea Curry.
Yes. He looked at her with his beautiful brown eyes across the kitchen bench.
He said, "Taste my tartlet. Isn't it a delicious tart? I bet it was."
It's like that tart stole my heart.
Oh.
But yet the next day I had to fart.
I wonder... Chickpeas, so yes. I wonder if Prue gets her ideas in the kitchen for her steamy romance novels. Because like the other day, one actually popped up on the Twitter feed like as one of those paid ads, and it was Prue Leaf's latest steamy romance novel, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot she makes those.
I just like to think that there's one, about her and a contestant. Oh, sorry, it's her name's. Sorry, the protagonist's name is
Lou Preith.
Lou Preith, yes, and it's by a name, and she's in love with a guy called Lahul.
When do we find out that Mary Berry wrote 50 Shades of Grey?
Never.
Because it would have been good. Anyway.
He would have had far more unicorns and far more booze.
There would have been just booze everywhere. And no soggy bottoms.
No.
Anyway, moving on quickly and veiled over that because my parents are listening. Brian, he said the pastry was a bit flexible. Not a phrase you want to associate with pastry.
No, well, they call it flexible tartlets. And I'm like, oh, they're discussing my youth.
And what I loved about this too was Bryony, they finished the full review, so they said that it was a bit like an apple pie. The pastry on the second one was good, the flavour was good, but there was too much onion. And Bryony went back to, excuse me, so the pastry on the first one was flexible.
Is that?
What do you mean by that?
It's good flexible.
It was a weird description.
Yeah.
Like flexi pastry. Sounds like pastry that can take half a day off.
Flexi pastry.
Oh, look, I'd be in the kitchen, but I'm having a flexi pastry. Now, John. John. He ran out of filling and time and fucks to give. And
look, you could see all the fucks in his tart. He'd left half the tart empty because that's where he was going to put his fucks.
Behold thine fucks and see how barren my tartlet is. Now Hollywood referred to them as untidy. Excuse me, it's fucking informal. It's in fucking formal, and don't you forget it. It was also gluey.
Remember, Mary Berry ran off with soggy bottoms, and I'm sure she's run off with informal as
well. There's a lawsuit over the word informal. And unfortunately, they couldn't meet on the quiet because it'd be an informal setting, and that wouldn't let do that.
He didn't want to meet her on her turf.
You won this round, Berry. Now, they also referred to John's as gluey, and this was something. Well, no, it was gluey in this one. It was claggy, claggy in the showstopper.
Oh, that's right. Well, we know he's going to get a great little.
He met all of the conditions of clag glue in one episode.
He's going to become a great ambassador for Bostik.
He'll be great for Bostik. The pastry was pale, like a Welshman. The filling is not good. So.
What there was of it.
Like, that was... I love the fact they didn't
Was there enough to even judge that there was a filling?
They didn't even try to hide it. They're just like, the filling is not good. It's just not good.
And you might have chosen the wrong size.
Beyond everything...
Look, he had a lot of no fucks to fill.
Look, John, beyond everything, it was great. Like, if you take every element out of consideration...
If you just take that tart away...
Look, if you served us a plate... Great. Wonderful. We can work with that. Kim Joy, very neat and artistic. They said it was well baked. The layers were nice. The coconut pastry was lovely. The black salt made it more eggy. And she got a handshake.
She did.
It was the only thing in this whole episode that came remotely fucking close to a handshake.
Yep. He really didn't want to give one out in Vegan Week.
Yeah, like he really didn't. And look, even then, like they didn't want to really shake hands. I kind of felt, and I said, we'll sort of wrap it up again at the end, obviously, but by the end of this episode, I kind of just got the feeling that everyone was fucking over it. Like nobody, we'll get to it in the third challenge, but I just got the feeling by the end of the third challenge, everyone was like, can we have eggs and butter back, please?
Yes. No, I can imagine that during the breaks, like after filming and stuff, they had to have like a sensory room just full of like eggs and dairy for the bakers just to go and retreat into.
egg angels are flying down. Now, you know what they could have all used to make these tartlets look better?
What?
They could have used a subscription to Australian Sugarcraft magazine.
That's correct, you know.
And they could have done it too, because, you know, sugar.
Sugar.
Molten sugar.
Like, that's vegan.
They could have done it. So, vegans, you could have enjoyed a good subscription to Australian Sugarcraft
It's good
magazine.
for vegans. It's good for vegetarians. Pescatarians love it.
Everyone
They're all about
loves
the Sugarcraft.
Everyone's about sugar, except that woman who wrote the How I Quit Sugar book.
Well, she doesn't count.
She doesn't count. But the rest of us, though, would really like a quality, full-colour digital magazine, which is all about the cake decorating. That's all it's about. Look, it used to be about the rap. Used to be about the streets. All about cake decorating now. Well, they've turned the corner.
Yeah, it's all about the cake decorating. Much like Penthouse is all about the... Articles, yeah.
I can't believe this happened to me. And in there you've got full step-by-step tutorials. We've mentioned this before. Lots of ideas, lots of creative cake designs, and it's really cheap. For an annual cost of $19.90 Australian, you get 2 issues a year, full colour, digital. It's fantastic. What more could you want?
You couldn't want any more.
You really couldn't. Like, and if you do, you've got some nerve, mister.
I know. Like, it's still my birthday. People have still got a couple hours to get in there and get me a subscription.
It's still your birthday. People, the best thing they could do for your birthday is go to facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft and get a subscription.
Absolutely. We should all enjoy, like, Australian Sugarcraft magazine and the amazingness that
I'm a fan.
I'm a bigger fan.
You are a bigger fan. You made a giant happy birthday out of sugar.
I did. I just went and had a look at the Australian Sugarcraft magazine. I went, I can do this.
See, as opposed to the chef the other night for your dinner who made it out of salt.
He did. We went to teppanyaki.
On the teppanyaki. He spelled happy birthday to you and wrote it backwards.
You know what? He needs a subscription to Australian Sugarcraft.
He really does. He could have made it 3D.
He could have upped his game. Like, imagine going to teppanyaki, right? And while he's throwing, like, egg at you, he's also, like, crafting some amazing, like, thing on the side.
I also came up with a really cool idea at teppanyaki, which was I didn't catch the egg in the bowl. I kept on elbowing it onto my lap. So when they passed the egg around for everyone else to go off and try to catch the egg and fill it up for the rice, I was just eating egg. It was great.
See, what he could have done, right, is he was cooking the prawns, and while he was cooking the prawns, he could have made like sugar crafted prawns, like out of icing sugar or like some toffee or whatever.
That could have been amazing.
And then you don't know if you're going to get sweet prawn or savoury prawn. That's
great. So what you need to do is go to Australian Sugarcraft magazine, get a subscription, and you can learn how to make sweet prawn. Note, there may not be a recipe for sweet prawn in the magazine. Just putting it out there.
Not yet.
But remember, go to facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft magazine. Now we get to the technical. Look.
Are you offended as an Australian?
I'm offended as a fucking human. We had blended aquafaba fruit cup. That's what this challenge was. Blended baked aquafaba fruit cup.
Okay.
That's what the dessert was. Aquafaba fruit cups.
All right. Well, let's break this down. Right. What was the difference in technique between whisking an egg and whisking the aquafaba?
Disappointment.
They still required the same skill, just more time for the aquafaba.
Notice how people weren't as brave to hold the bowl of aquafaba over their head.
Not my problem. They've probably never done it before. Do I care? No. Same deal. Same whisking.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah.
We're having a pavlova.
Okay.
I'm making it out of aquafaba.
No, you don't need to do that for us.
No. I'm making it out of aquafaba. Why would you not want the aquafaba pav?
I'm not vegan.
Now be honest with me.
Yeah.
If someone served you an aquafaba pav.
Yeah. I'd say thank you very much for all the trouble you went to. I will have the proper pavlova. Thank you.
Thank you. So, it's a fucking... I don't care if aquafaba sort of looks a bit like and goes a little bit the consistency of meringue. It is not a fucking meringue.
But it is to vegans.
I don't care what it is to vegans. Tofu is delicious to vegans.
I like tofu. There are a lot of non-vegans who enjoy tofu.
Not really.
Yes, there are.
Raw tofu.
No one's eating raw tofu.
Vegans are eating raw tofu.
Well, they're stupid.
Thank you.
No, that's you. Have just
Proven my point.
A fucking right-wing nut job bullshit.
Don't call me a right-wing nut job. I am right on this.
I'm looking at the technique. Anyway, the technique's the same.
Anyway,
does it get baked? Does it go in the oven? Yes, it does.
Bryony asked a really salient question in this one, which was, she made more a statement. I can't believe that someone sat there at one point and thought, you know what, I'm going to whisk the hell out of this chickpea juice. Who does that?
Well, we know a lot of MasterChef contestants, and we know they like to get experimental.
I don't think any of them are that experimental.
Oh, you don't know. I wouldn't put it past them to just be whisking random, just tofu juice, see what happens.
I'll disown them if they do.
Tuna juice.
I'll disown them if they do. Anyway.
The tuna brine.
Oh,
what's that doing?
No.
Just whisking that, see what happens.
No.
Just all the water or the liquid that you pour off a can of something. Okay, and just whisking it, seeing what happens.
Just whisking liquids.
I presume it was a vegan.
It's a new TV show for lifestyle, whisking liquids.
What you're forgetting though,
it's a full after Willa blend,
is that I'm pretty sure a lot of vegans are very much into a lot of green stuff.
Yeah,
stuff that can be smoked as well. Look, and I'm pretty sure,
dude, that tastes really good.
It just popped it in.
With me here. Right, what? what if I take tofu, right? And I take tofu and I blend it to a smoothie with broccoli.
I think it's more about the action.
Broccoli tofu smoothie. Stay with me, dude. Okay? Then we get some aquafaba. What the fuck's aquafaba? Fucking good shit, man. just stay with me. I feel like it was invented by someone who said the word "stay with me" a lot.
I think the thing we've really worked out is you've never been stoned a day in your life.
100%. 100%. Now,
yes.
Look, I made fuck all notes to this. I really did. My question to you is, one challenge has to happen.
Which is?
Do you take aquafaba cups, or do you take free from
trifle?
Which one?
Because that's a great question, because usually
I hate both of them, by the way.
Oh, I fucking love trifle though.
Yeah, but I hate the idea of what they did with free from trifle, because it was an absolute lie.
Look,
the thing I'll give them credit for on here is they didn't lie. No. Whereas free from trifle is a lie.
Which is why I take the free from trifle.
Yeah, well there you go, because it will work, because it's actually got sugar in it.
It's got all the main components of what I need in a trifle, which is a cake matter, some kind of custard matter, and some kind of cream and fruit matter.
Whereas this one didn't matter.
And matter.
This one didn't matter.
Well, in the end, it didn't.
It really didn't.
It really didn't.
This was an episode where they just completely threw the fucking technical out the window. We don't care. Now, Paul really had no fucks to give about the whole challenge, and Prue was so in love with it. Paul's looking at the Pav and going, what on earth possessed you to do this? And Prue has got this beaming smile and she's passionate about it. It's so like it. And Paul's like, yeah, it's a little bit like the consistency. He's like, no. Paul in his head is going, give me some fucking egg whites. I can fix this. Give me 5 minutes and egg whites.
Yeah, now, but what I would have liked to have seen is someone eat it who wasn't told it was vegan pavlova, to find out if they thought it was any different or tasted weird.
Blind taste test with a real Pav and real Pav and the fake Pav. Now,
yes.
John did utter a phrase, though, in this that I think summed up a lot of how he viewed him in the competition this year.
Yes.
Where he turned around and he said, decorating isn't my thing. Now,
look,
the question I have to ask from tonight's episode, what exactly in this episode, John, would you classify as your thing? Because there was nothing in this episode that was John. There was nothing for John.
No.
We called last week, we said that we thought Kim Joy would do well, and she did. And we thought that John was fucking going home.
And he did.
It was you didn't even need to hold the week.
Yeah.
We could have just cut to the chase and sent John home.
I mean, do we need to really dwell on the technical? I mean, it was a bake. You know, it went into the oven. It baked.
Like, listen to the feedback. This is the level of feedback they gave to these pavlovas, and I just use air quotations. Kim Joy's was not as decorative. It was cracked, but the meringue tasted okay. Rahul's, the piping was good. The balance was good. So in other words, it was a Rahul bake. It doesn't really matter. John was lazy on the piping. The fake cream was good but runny. It's fake cream. What are you expecting? Bryony's...
He made it himself.
Bryony's lost definition.
It's a little bit salty.
Bryony's lost... Bryony's lost definition.
Again, can you eat it or do you have to
give it up? Bryony's lost definition. I wonder why Bryony's lost definition. Could it be the lack of egg whites? Ruby, they said her definition was good and it was cooked well. Manon's looked good but lacked definition. Lots of them lacked definition. In other words, structurally, they weren't sound. And that was about to come back to bite everybody in the showstopper.
So it must have been about the choice of piping you did, because the one that Prue served up had the similar piping shape to Ruby's. So it must be just a piping choice.
Now, John, then they cut to John, and John was trying to give his opinion, you know, when he talks about, tells to the camera about I'm in trouble or blah, 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 blah. And John said, look, I've had 2 really horrible bakes. This isn't my week. I'm looking dangerous now.
It's a Welsh dragon backed into a corner.
I'm pretty sure he meant in danger, but yeah, it could have been the Welsh dragon coiled with his spring.
Yes.
Like a ninja, like a
with
springy
Tudor
ninja.
rose in his jaws, ready to tango with death.
Ready to take it on. The good thing from tonight, Rahul is getting more confident.
He was, you know, and as Noel said, you know, by the end of it, I will have you happy and dancing about or something like that. And Rahul's like, oh, you can try.
Good luck with that.
Yes.
Again, so we got to the showstopper after Paul made it really plain that he hated this idea. Vegan celebration cake. Is this, and we talked about this the other day.
What do vegans celebrate?
Everything. Being a vegan.
Just every day's a vegan celebration.
Every day is a celebration. You know why?
Why?
Because when you tell someone you're a vegan, you have to present them with a cake to prove it.
Yes, well, what if, like a gender reveal, you have a vegan reveal? Like, you know, like...
That could be cool.
Just like
we talked about that the other day with the pouring on the male, the child comes out. Like we talked about the birth cakes. What, a tree?
Just like a happy cow and a chopped leek.
A somewhat thin and gaunt person who's needing more iron in their life.
Look, I presume like everyone, vegans have to do things to take care of their health, but...
So I've mentioned this before, but I have to mention this now because it's the perfect place.
Okay.
So my best friend growing up went vegetarian at one point. Except he decided that he really liked prosciutto. So what he said to me was, one day we were out and I'm like, oh, we'll get some food. And I went, oh, you're veggie, aren't you? So we'll have to get something else. And he goes, no, we can get that. And he pointed to the rocket and prosciutto pizza. And I went, but there's prosciutto on that. And he goes, it's cut so thinly, it doesn't count like meat.
So by his logic, he could get a rump steak and just shave it.
Thinly shaved rump steak. It's so thin, it doesn't really count.
Could
it's
he
like
have
water.
just gone to get a kebab because the meat shape's thin?
Too thick, not that thin.
Could he tell the kebab person then to put the shaver down on a thinner setting? Like take it to the deli. Just
welcome to the deli. What'll it be today?
I like to have he has a measuring.
Of your really thinly shaved meat. All right, there you go. So we have to talk about Prue's reaction to this whole fucking week. Mm-hmm. She was fucking delighted they couldn't use butter. She was cackling almost about
She's
the fact
the
they couldn't
anti-Maggie beer.
She is. Now, Devondale would not have coped with this episode.
No.
They really wouldn't have. Because, again, remember what happened in Free From Week? The week after, the first segment was just the judges and the host sitting there going, how is butter? Isn't butter amazing?
Yes.
And milk. Milk. You got to have milk. Milk and butter. They're incredible things.
Yes.
So the wet ingredients, because I took down a list of all the wet ingredients they use to replace butter. Oil, dairy-free margarine, coconut oil, soy milk, coconut milk.
Mushnuts.
Mushnuts, right?
Nut juice.
Mushnuts sounds a little bit like the name of a Jewish delicatessen.
Oi,
welcome to Mushnuts. What can I serve you?
I'd like a knish.
Delightful. So, Kim Joy's was Fox-themed.
Yes.
And once again, fucking Aquafaba makes an appearance in the royal icing.
Yes, so what? Her friend's spirit animal is a fox, which is fantastic. Well, she said, yeah, it is his spirit animal.
Does that make it the fantastic Mr. Fox? See what I did? Yeah, you all saw what I did there.
I imagine that when he's like trying to invoke it, he's like, do, fox it.
Madeline made the apple spiced cake, and what was really disappointing about that, apart from the fact that when we got to the end it was inedible, was that Paul said the one thing that he couldn't taste in the cake was apple. Possibly one of the worst bakes we've seen this season, in all honesty. Now, John, what we loved about John was that he made a tribute to Terry.
He did, a choc orange.
A choc orange. You know, Terry couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's not Terry's, it's John's.
And he decorated in a pattern that Noel now wants in pants.
That should give us all pause to work out how good it actually looked, because Noel wants it in a pant format.
Yes, the lovely leopard print, which I thought was quite funny. He's gone vegan cake. I have to put fur on it.
But more importantly, and you pointed this out. I missed it. You pointed this out. He jinxed himself.
Did he?
Because what did he put on top of the cake?
Oh, pineapple.
We all know from Australian Bake Off.
You put a pineapple on top. Death. Okay, pineapples are the cursed fruit of Australian Bake Off. Pears. For Canada.
For Britain. Sadness in general, really.
Vegan.
Yeah, vegan. Now, I really appreciated that he went to 70s British sitcoms with Only Fools Eat Horses. I thought there could have been a tribute to Love Thy Neighbour, or possibly Are You Being Served?
What about Born to the Manor?
To the Manor Born, yeah.
To the Manor Born, that's it.
To the Manor Born could have been cool. But I really wanted to see like an Are You Being Served cake. You know, it's free.
From Happiness.
The Slocum Special. So...
It was so cold last night, my pussy was frozen solid, so I ate some vegan cake. I don't know. I'm trying to mash two things together.
It worked, like he did. That's what he did. Bryony tried to mash things together and decided to cover it all by using coffee. Now, it's probably one of the only ways you would have got me to forget it was vegan.
Is to coffeeize it.
Fill it with coffee.
Coffee.
Now, at this point, Sandy became my Patronus. Where she was talking to Ruby and looks at one point and goes, so, let me guess, it's chickpea? Everything in this thing is made of chickpea today. Like, she was kind of me. Like, chickpea? Everything's made of chickpea.
Is that the point where Noel walks
and at
behind?
this point, Noel came past wearing the top of a cake dish on his head.
Yes.
And it looked like he looked like a glass Lego man. Like the Lego head.
Everything is awesome.
And it was basically like he was reminding Ruby that you might be talking to Sandy, but we've got the partnership.
Exactly. We've got the show going.
The contract is with us. Don't let her third wheel this. She's taking QI. She'll take this next.
Yeah.
Right? It's our show.
The newbie show.
So Ruby decided to do a tribute to a day out with her grandfather, literally just eating ice cream. And I don't think she really understood how apt that was going to prove to be.
But what I liked is she's like, it's not a very interesting story. It's just really me and my cousin out with my granddad eating lots of ice cream.
It was fine.
But you know what? Still a better love story than 50 Shades of Grey.
So much better. So much better. Now, she did say she was going to be using a bit of dowel. By the end of it, was it more dowel than cake? I
presume the ratio would be more dowel than cake.
When Paul cut into what was left of it,
he's like, oh, is there more down there? Okay.
I was waiting for the chainsaw. What are you doing, Carl? You like ice sculptor? No. Sculpture? No. I'm coming for the dowel. Now, at this point, when she took her cakes out of the oven, she's like, it's looking cakey. I mean, cracky, but cakey. And everyone seemed shocked that the cakes they took out of the oven vaguely looked like cakes. I have a bit of a feeling that nobody's test bake for this went well. No, they were all shocked that their cakes looked like cakes. And as we found out later
Joe's
on...
like, oh, it's all like fluffy and spongy, like a cake.
As we found out later on, nobody really seemed to know what they had in front of them. John ate his, looked at it for about 10 seconds and then looked at the camera and went, it's claggy.
I'm sure he was like just prepared to bottle it up and take it home for his kids to use as like glue sticks.
I thought he was prepared to use it to like chalk up the side of the house. It looked... Forget dense. Dense is what Manon served. Mm-hmm. His looked like, you know those mini stilts they give like kindergarten kids with like the strings?
Yeah,
like
on the Milo tins, yeah.
That. It looked like, they looked like dark wooden stilts.
But you'd need two, so if you used his and say like rubies,
three.
You'd be like walking on a...
Well, by the time you got about halfway up with rubies, you'd be falling over. So... At this point, Rahul then brought everyone back down to the emotion by talking about his late grandparents and the tribute to them, and it was lovely and touching.
And how his grandma gave up eggs and meat for the rest of her life. I'm like,
it was touching.
Wow, that's pretty dedicated. That's beautiful. But as I mentioned to you, if I had to do that, I'd just give up peas in your honour because you hate peas.
Well, so do you.
Yeah.
So you're not really giving anything up there, are you?
Yeah, but I'm still promising never to eat them again.
What a sacrifice.
It is.
Look, if there's one thing I appreciate out of you...
Yes, my love?
It's the sacrifices that you're making for me.
I know.
I won't eat that thing that I won't eat. All for you. It's all for you. Nothing to do with my taste buds.
No.
So... They then said that they needed to display decorating technique, and they cut to John, who looked very disappointed. Like this revelation, he's like, look, it's vegan week. I automatically assumed that decorating didn't matter either because, like, the taste clearly doesn't matter. So decorating doesn't matter.
It's like he had an existential crisis with vegan week. He's like, what is my life about if I cannot use dairy or
eggs? And his
eggs?
piping of buttercream was a bit sad. Like, he couldn't even get the circle done properly. Sandy tried to get a bit of more personality out of Rahul. She ran over and, hello, lovely boy. And he's just like, hi. And she's like, try to seem a little bit more excited when I come past. And Rahul goes, sorry? It's like, that's the spirit, Rahul. Never change, never change. Now, it was at this point that everything went bad for Ruby. So the top layer of her cake broke while icing it. That's not a good sign if your cake breaks while you ice it.
No.
Like, it wasn't even like it had toppled over at this point. She was icing it and it literally collapsed.
It looks like Thanos had just been passed.
I'm sure it was right
and
there.
Cake was just dying, but first of all, rubies.
And at that point she said, yeah, maybe if I sit it this way you can't see a wonk. And the problem was, and we were looking at it, and I said to you at the time, I looked at it and went, the cake's lopsided. She's got the big bit on the top and the small bit on the bottom. And like we couldn't see what flavours, but as they then point out later on, the chocolate, which was more dense, she tried to put on top of the light and fluffy lemon. Uh-huh. No wonder it fell apart.
But what I love though, the sketch artist is really fucking earning. Like, the artist was
earned his money
tonight because it was essentially trying to airbrush Joan Collins with a lot of these fucking bakes, wasn't it? Because it's like, look at John's tart. Look at the artist rendering.
Nothing like what John served up.
It really is. Do you know what tonight was? It should have been a Nailed It.
It should have been.
Episode of Nailed It.
Now, what I said I appreciated before was, by the time this challenge finished, no one cared.
No.
Like, not even fucking Kim Joy, who was desperate to win the week, not even Kim Joy gave a shit.
No.
Everyone by the end of it was like, we're fucking done. This is over. Rahul. Nothing goes wrong for Rahul ever. Right?
No.
Rahul, everything he makes is absolutely perfect. He finishes his cake, he looks at it and goes, that's got to go in the fridge right now. And when it went in the fridge, it fell apart.
Well, I'm thinking about the chocolate, and I'm like, I'm presuming it's a vegan chocolate because you can't have like any dairy milk chocolate.
Exactly.
So it'd have to be a chocolate that's made with other bits and pieces.
So they got them to make a tiered cake without the binding agents that make a tiered cake stand up.
Yeah, there's plenty of dowel though.
That's what you want in vegan cooking.
No,
it's really vegan because it's tree. So The problem was that everyone finished. Everyone was fucking done and trying to leave, and like they've got Sandy on one side and Noel on the other of Ruby, and they're both in her ear trying to talk her up, and they've walked off ahead. And all the bakers, and the camera's on the cake, and the bakers are walking past the window, and they look in just as Ruby's cake falls. You can see it going, and they all stopped and went, oh no.
And Ruby hasn't noticed.
And it falls over, and they're all stopped, and they go, oh. And they stopped further up, and they turned over, and Noel just looks at her and goes, I think that's your cake falling down.
And she's like, oh,
Ruby's lost it. Completely lost it.
Yeah.
I thought this challenge was the perfect ad for the dairy industry. Want your cakes to stand up? Dairy.
Oh, eggs. Miss me. Your cakes.
That's their slogan. Eggs. Miss me.
Question mark.
So Bryony's, they said, looked neat, and the raspberry did lift it, which is what she said they thought it would do. John's cake started slowly collapsing at this point. You know what it looked like? It looked like a leopard print handbag.
It did start to bulge out. It's like the leopard was still alive and trying to escape.
So, the way that Paul described it was, first of all, they said it was a bit claggy, and I'm like, did they watch him before when he said it's claggy? And Paul goes, it looks hideous, but the flavour's good. Great. Now, Manon. They said it was really heavy and gluey and looked more like a pudding.
Looked beautiful, though.
They said it looked great until then. And then they've gone, it looks great, but it tastes awful. And she's gone, oh. And then Paul stopped for a minute and went, it's also rubbery.
She's like on the ground in pain. He just lays
and
the
then
boot
she stops. And then she's like, and you can't taste the apple. And the more they got into Manon's... Like, you get the feeling they kind of wheeled Manon back to the bench before Paul could keep going, and your bench is ugly. And
she starts to fall apart like Ruby's cake.
Yeah, like she just collapses in half. But they basically said that Manon's cake was inedible. That was the feedback. Kim Joy. Paul said you can't miss it because it just looked like a Kim Joy cake. There was a fox on the front of it, for fuck's sake. They had lavender sponge. Lavender. Now, what I found interesting was they said that it was very, very powerful, but then they said, but you put lemon there so it balances up okay. Now, normally when they've got a lavender flavour, they bitch about the fact that it's too strong. So I find it interesting they went, lemon balanced it. It was almost like, again, not disparaging any of it, but they were looking for something to make it...
You've got two tonight. Like, how
can
nothing. Everyone was essentially floating around an even keel, so you're really pulling at straws.
Well, when we look at the overall... Like, I actually thought, like, he talked about the idea of, Kim Joy was possibly either going home or Star Baker. I thought outside of probably Bryony and Rahul...
One of those two would get it.
Everybody else could have gone home.
Well, Manon was strong until that last bake.
But that last bake was really...
enough to kick her out.
Fucking horrible. And previously, when it's inedible, they go home.
Yeah.
They said that Rahul, again, his construction fell over in the fridge. What he'd done, though, was he put a drizzle on the soft layer of his cake. That's like wetting the cement halfway through a building that's 3/4 dry. So it fell over. They did say, though, that it tasted too strong of coconut, and Paul kind of gave him the first negative feedback we've heard, which is they tried too much flavour.
Yeah. The chocolate would have been sufficient.
Ruby's looked like a disaster and was more dowel than cake. But they said the flavour of both was good. And then they got to the judging.
Lincolnshire Forest.
It was really. Ponderosa Pine. But the judging this week, well, you can't say it's horrible. But by the same token, I don't really know how. I think they may have looked at just John and gone, I think he wants to leave. Because that's the only thing I can think of. Like, because as bad as John was, like, his flavours were decent for the last one, even though it was dense and sort of semi-collapsing. Ruby's completely fell apart and was contained with wood, and basically was held together with wood, and Manon's was inedible.
Yeah.
And so I thought that John was a bit unlucky, but on the other hand, I just felt like John wanted to go home.
Yeah, his heart wasn't in any of the bakes.
He's like, if you do another fucking
Ruby
vegan,
at least
never
pulled off the pav, And the tarts her and Menon did quite well. And even Menon's Pav was quite strong. So.
Yeah, look, I mean, as I said, I don't think this is... I don't think this is a week, as much as I do understand, for all my bagging in it, I understand what they were trying. But I don't think they reached what they wanted, and I don't think this is an episode that people will go running back to. I really just don't think so. I think it failed. I think it was a good attempt in terms of what they wanted to do, and I do get it, but yeah, it just didn't. The execution wasn't quite there. Much like the vegan showstoppers.
Yeah.
It lacked eggs.
But then there are a lot of bakes in the world that don't rely on eggs and dairy.
They could have got them to do one of those then instead of a cake.
Fair enough.
That's the point. They could have just got them to do something that didn't rely on eggs.
Yeah.
Anyway, Vegan Week is done.
Hallelujah.
Thank God. As is another Kristiemas.
Well, there's still a few days of it left.
Well, there is still a big celebration for Kristiemas.
It's like a Hindu festival when it's Kristiemas.
It really is. People are donating. Of course, you set up a little donation.
Oh, yeah.
We will probably share on the Washing Up Facebook page.
Yeah. So I've done a fundraiser because Facebook lets you do that shit now.
Which is cool.
For the mini kitty commune. And even if you can't find my fundraiser, just pop on and give them. They basically rescue animals from kill shelters and whatever, and they've got lots of volunteers all over Sydney. Now, I love cats. I don't like what cats do to the environment, and I think the more we can get out from the wild and desexed, the better we can do, and also give people the chance to love a cat and make more cat videos for us to watch.
I mean, your cats and dog sent you a lovely bouquet of flowers at work.
They somehow learnt how to use the internet. They've got a credit card. I can only presume it's from they've become gold farmers on WoW. Or
again, they are the Bitcoin investors.
They are the Bitcoin investors. And they sent me some flowers yesterday at work. Date wrong, but good on them, you know.
Hey, look, I like the way you can't be worried about the fact the animals got the date wrong given they're animals using the internet to send you flowers for your birthday.
Yeah.
So, look, congratulations, cats, if you're listening to this and now you can use the internet. I'm assuming you are.
And my other favourite furry animal sent me flowers today, so thank you, my love. We can assure your mum you got the date right.
Yes, we can assure my mother, who messaged me and went, "Did the animals really not know what her birthday was?" And I'm like, "There's a plan, Mum."
If you wonder why we don't make a big deal of Chris's birthday, it's because it's December 24th.
Yeah, so we're not
podcasting at that time.
We're not podcasting at that time of year. It's just not happening. So
maybe we'll make a pseudo, but how to have Christmas in July. Maybe we'll have a Chris's birthday in July.
We've tried that. That'll be in the middle of that'll be in the middle of MasterChef Australia. I don't want to.
Well, I
don't want my birthday associated with MasterChef Australia. If you're listening, by the way, from MasterChef, we love you, and please let us podcast your show. Up until next week, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
We will catch you all next week.
Vegan.